This is Pet Life Radio. Let's talk pets.
Hello, pet lovers! Welcome to Best Pets for Pets. I'm your show host, Michelle Fern. So what do you do when your pet's sick? This is I think the worst nightmare for any pet parent, especially when it's like 4 a.m. or it's a weekend or a holiday. There's the dreaded emergency animal hospital that, hopefully you can get to and it's not going to cost an arm and a leg. It's just scary, right? Well, my guest today has a great solution. So stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Take a bite out of your competition. Advertise your business with an ad in Pet Life Radio podcasts and radio shows. There is no other pet-related media that is as large and reaches more pet parents and pet lovers than Pet Life Radio. With over 7 million monthly listeners, Pet Life Radio podcasts are available on all major podcast platforms, and our live radio stream goes out to over 250 million subscribers on iHeartRadio, Odyssey, TuneIn, and other streaming apps. For more information on how you can advertise on the #1 pet podcast and radio network, visit PetLifeRadio.com/advertise today.
Let's Talk Pets on PetLifeRadio.com.
Welcome back, everyone. I'd like to welcome Guilherme Coelho. I'm sorry if I messed that up. He is the CEO of Maven Pet. Welcome.
Hello, Michelle. Thank you. Thank you for having me. Excited to be here.
I'm glad to have you. So let's talk about Maven Pet. What is Maven Pet?
So Maven, I like to say Maven is the first time a vet has eyes on the pet 24/7 and through data can understand early when something is wrong, right? Precisely to avoid situations that you were mentioning. And we spent 2 years building this technology. And then for the past couple of months, it has been out there and the feedback has been great.
There's been kind of like some other pet company, other companies have had, technology to where they're introducing virtual pet visits. What made you decide, what, I need to create something like Maven Pet? Because there are some that exist. They're not everywhere. There's not like one national one that's so big that's the one that's in front of everybody's name. But you joined a market that's a little competitive. Why did you decide to, create Maven Pet?
Yeah, so actually, Michelle, me and my team, we've been working in the pet space for several years now, right? So we know the space quite well. I know the other companies, I know the other devices. Maven is different, right? So personally, Maven came out as a personal pain that I felt. So I had the dog called Tommy. He was a lab mix with husky, so a big breed, slightly obese, like several pets, right? And the day I noticed that something was wrong with Tommy, it was one day when he was barking at me so I could help him stand up. Okay, so obviously at this stage, there's barely nothing you could do. So I took Tommy to the vet. Obviously, there were already a severe joint problem. I couldn't overcome the thought that I should have been able to detect something on Tommy, behavior on Tommy, activity as early as possible that might have led to a different outcome. Okay, so that's how Maven was born. So how can we bring technology? How can we bring data? How can we bring artificial intelligence? Okay, so we can pinpoint early when something is wrong with the pet. Okay, the other companies out there, most of them are GPS trackers to have the location of pets in real time. Some count the calories, count the number of miles walked. But our goal at Maven and at the core of what we do, and we do have veterinarians work with us, obviously, it's all about care, right? It's pinpoint early the onset of potential health issues. So when something about the pet goes off track, so that we can let the pet owner and the local vet know about it. And so with this unique positioning, we can be proactive. Okay, so everything else on the industry is still reactive. We just take our pets to the vet, just like I did when we understand that something is wrong. And most of the times about being reactive, it's that when we notice something is wrong, it's already too late, right?
Right. Thank you for that information. How does Maven Pet work?
Maven system basically consists of two things: a smart collar that goes into the pet snack, is supposed to be there 24/7, monitors the pet behavior throughout the day, throughout the night, different intensities, different levels of movement with different access. So it easily gets complex. And then a mobile app. Okay. And so
Okay,
our
wait, I want to go
goal
into this
is
more.
to,
So already that's something that's different because you use a device on a collar that can transmit information about your pet. I guess it's just basic, right? Basic information is what you're generating from the device on the collar.
it's not basic information. Actually, it's quite complex because with a couple of sensors, we can have a deep understanding of a pet's behavior, of changes of those behavior, like granular changes that happen on a daily basis that the human eye cannot see. Okay. But data can. And so from the smart collar, we get like hundreds of different features that all together shape what the behavior for a pet is, right? And our approach is each pet is a different pet with different behaviors, with different lifestyles. And so we don't have one size fits all approach.
That's good to hear. And the fact
Yes.
that the sensors on the collar can pick up so much data is, I think, even more interesting and more beneficial to the pet parent. What about on your site? I was reading about, proactive pet care, emergency pet care, and then routine vet care. How does Maven work with each of these? Like, what if there's an emergency? What would happen? Like, for example, Mr. Zeus, who's now in doggy heaven, he was my baby, and he had what they call old dog disease. You heard of that before?
Old dog?
Yeah, old dog disease. I just came home one night and I can't, there's another name for it, but it's just slips my mind. It's just something to where your dog just becomes like very dizzy, and it happens to older dogs and they can't stand. And it's something that if you don't take care of it, it dehydrates your dog because they're very dizzy. They can't drink. How would Maven Pet help in this situation?
Yeah. So, I assume it's like a senior dog, okay, which is more prone to this kind of disease, right? And we have all of that shaped within our model, okay? And so when the hardware would detect a change on your pet behavior, okay?
Wait, I got the name. I'm sorry. It's called vestibular disease. It's called old dog vestibular disease. And it usually happens. I talked to one of our show hosts about it, Dr. Jeff, who hosts the show Ask the Vet with Dr. Jeff. And it's also known as old dog disease. Not really old dog. Zeus was like maybe 11 or 12, maybe, when he had it. He passed at 15, so okay, a little bit old. But it's really
still
strange, and it mostly happens late at night.
Yeah. So as I was saying, we would detect that through the hardware, right? We would detect that your pet is less intense or laying down for longer, or if it's in the middle of the night, there's way more sleep disruptions than what's usual for your pet. And that would trigger an alert within our system, right? And so both you and your vet would be aware of it, so you could act at that moment, right? So because as you mentioned, it's something that we should act fast. And so our system also knows that, like for different pets, for different changes, for different situations, we understand the severity of a problem and whether or not we should immediately let the vet know that something is wrong. So that for your specific case, that's how it would work.
So how would I, as a pet parent, use Maven Pet? So let's say I joined Maven Pet, I got the collar, it's on my dog, and then I come home 10 o'clock at night, and I see my dog's, sitting there shaking his head. His eyes are like rolling in his head. Something's weird. Maven Pet has the information from the sensors on the collar. What do I do then?
Yeah, so we are currently working with clinics. Okay, so most of our patients come recommended from their local vet. Okay, that want to leverage our technology to act proactive and to have data to leverage diagnosis or to make sure the treatment is being effective on the pet. If you would buy Maven as a consumer, you would have access to your Maven vet. Okay, so if that's the case, your Maven vet would be assessing each situation, each alert with you. And if there's a need to go to a physical vet because a physical examination is needed or because some exams are needed, we would recommend you to the nearest vet that's open if you don't have one.
Okay, so based on this, I have Maven Pet. Based on, this discovery, I can call Maven Pet, say what's going on, Is this something, and now Maven Pet, would they be able to know if it's something that, okay, you have to go to the nearest vet right away, or this isn't that big of a deal, just keep your dog hydrated and go to the vet first thing in the morning?
Exactly. Precisely like that. So most of the times there's no need to go to ER. There's no need to book an appointment as fast as possible. Some other cases you do, right? So we help the pet owner understanding that so we can manage everything properly.
Well, that's a relief. What I ended up doing, because I'm sure listeners are out there is like wondering, so what happened? What happened? Well, I did go to the emergency vet hospital, and they took blood work, which cost an arm and a leg, and they said, everything looks good, but he has this. And I did get medication to try to lessen the movement of because they're thrown off. They just have this their body rhythm is thrown off. It's like their eyes are rolling in their head. So they become very nauseous. So they're not eating and they're not drinking. So I was given medication to stop the nauseousness and medication to make him, eat. So, but probably with Maven Pet, I might have been able to avoid spending $400 and wait to get to my regular vet and either then spend $400 on the blood work, or maybe he'd be okay by then. Who knows? We're going to take a short break. We'll be right back. Hey everyone, Michelle Fern here. My cat's old food was kind of stinky and the cat's breath would smell and kind of old school. I wanted something more 21st century. I was so excited when I found Smalls. My cats have now been eating Smalls for 30 days and I see a big improvement. First, Smalls cat food is protein-packed recipes made with preservative-free ingredients, just like you'd find in your fridge, and it's delivered right to your door. Smalls was started back in 2017 by a couple guys that were home cooking cat food in small batches for their friends. Today, Smalls has served millions of meals to cats all over America. I love the fact that I could see a big difference in Charlotte. Charlotte used to get a lot of irritation on her underbelly from nervously itching herself or, who knows what. And now I see a big improvement. That sold me. I am so glad to see this big difference in Charlotte since she started eating Smalls only 30 days ago. The team at Smalls is so confident your cat will love their food that you can try it risk-free. That means they will refund you if your cat won't eat their food. But that's not going to happen because the cat food is delicious and I love how it smells. Give your cat the gift of great cat food this holiday season. Head to smalls.com/petlife and use the promo code PETLIFE at checkout for 50% off your first order plus free shipping. That's the best offer you'll find, but you have to use my code PETLIFE for 50% off your first order. One last time, that's promo code PETLIFE for 50% off your first order plus free shipping.
Let's talk pets.
Let's talk pets
On Pet Life Radio.
Pet Life Radio.
PetLifeRadio.com.
Welcome back, everyone. We're talking to Guilherme. He's the CEO of Maven Pet. So we're talking about Maven Pet. We're talking about how pet parents would use Maven Pet. So we talked about how we would use Maven Pet in an emergency situation. What about for routine vet care? How does Maven Pet help?
Yeah, there's so many ways Maven can help, right? Just the fact of having data can improve everything about the industry, right? So we've proven we have use cases of patients where we detect early a problem, a health condition, and when the pet went to the vet, it was diagnosed with diabetes. We have pets they are getting senior, and we detect early joint problems. We have pets that have been post-surgery, and we can give real-time feedback on whether the pet is recovering smoothly or if not, if it's sleeping bad and being active, which might indicate a complication post-surgery. And so, unless it's a completely healthy pet, which still it's worth keeping an eye on, Maven can really help, right? And we have several chronic patients, okay, for which remote monitoring and keeping an eye on a pet is so important that we can detect when something is wrong, right? We have patients with cardiac problems. We have patients, again, with diabetes. We have patients that are being follow up because of osteoarticular problems. And just because they are within our system, just because we are collecting data 24/7 on the call on a mobile app, we can understand when something is wrong, right? Just last month, we had a patient with diabetes. Okay, it took 5 months until we get the dose right. Okay, because we kept receiving data that the pet was lethargic, that the pet was vomiting, that the pet was going against objects in the middle of the house. All of those signals are bad signs for a pet that has diabetes, right? And we managed to give this feedback to the vet so we could keep constantly iterating on a dose until we find the sweet spot for that pet, right? And this is not possible without data because unfortunately pet owners don't know everything about their pet, right? We are busy. Unfortunately, we don't spend 24/7 looking at the pets. And so data and being proactive really changes the things in the industry. And that's what I've been doing.
I understand that the data is really important, but it's still important to see your vet live and in person, But Maven Pet really facilitates the issues to or facilitates everything so that it can really assist your vet in coming to a conclusion rather than let's test this. Okay, let's wait. Let's test this. Let's wait. So it facilitates everything so you can come to the vet. It can assist the vet in diagnosing the issue faster.
Oh, yeah, for sure. More recently, we've been working with vets, local vets and practices and clinics, hospitals to empower them with this data, right? To empower them with what we call our AI-Vet. So they can be proactive towards the patient's health, so they can understand early when something is wrong, so they can make sure the treatment they suggested or recommended is actually improving that pet health and well-being. So we work with clinics precisely to empower the vet with this data so they can use it as they see fit and as they think it's the best approach to do so. Okay, because as I said, I've been in the space for several years, and we all know that 80% of the job of a veterinarian is based on communication, right? Hearing the pet owner, asking the right questions. And now with data, we can be more accurate on how we approach pet care. And so, yes, we've been working with clinics because we saw a huge opportunity to empower them with technology, with data, with remote monitoring tools, so they can take even better care of their patients.
You said something really interesting that stuck in my head for my next question, because I wanted to ask you why this is the future of vet care. But my own answer, sorry, it's something bad habit, but I do it anyway. So, but what I can see is that one of the great benefits of Maven Pet is that it helps with accuracy for assisting the vet in diagnosing a particular condition. Sometimes it's really difficult to get the information without testing for a million different things to diagnose properly. But with Maven Pet, if you're gathering all this information from the sensors in the collar, my guess is that it would be the accuracy would be better.
Yeah, 100%, Michelle. So unfortunately, we still rely a lot on the pet owners. And I tell this a lot. Same pet described differently by two different owners, let's say, could lead to different approaches in terms of care, right? And so by empowering the vets with data, we remove, everything is much more analytical, right? Everything is much more objective and not subjective and with nuances, which will lead to more accurate diagnosis, accurate treatments, and things like that for sure.
Okay, well, that I think as far as for the future of vet care is really important. What about, is it mostly for dogs or only for dogs right now?
It's dogs and cats, yeah.
Cats also. Okay, so
yes,
the collar, you have breakaway collars for cats to wear?
Exactly, we do.
So I think this is hugely important for cats because, as we know, cats are very stoic creatures and you don't know what's going on with your cat necessarily. That's why they always say, annual vet visits are so important. But, dogs give you signals. They're more likely to give you signals. Cats, they suck it up, They don't tell you when they're in pain. Yeah. They just suck it up. And I had a scary situation years ago with Dennis, which almost led to the end of Dennis. Thank goodness we took care of everything in time. But anything different for cats other than the collars are smaller and breakaway?
Yeah. We know cats are even worse disguising their they're pain or that something is wrong, right? So to some extent, and again, I said at the beginning that each pet is different, right? We cannot even compare like a pit bull with a chihuahua. And so what changes is like the granularity, the sensitivity of the algorithms, okay, which are tailored for different pets of different ages, of different profiles, with different breeds and lifestyles. And so that's basically how we shape the model so we can fit each pet, basically cats and dogs.
So besides for pet care, and we talked about being proactive for pet care, emergency pet care, for routine, and what are some other benefits for using Maven Pet?
So there's some other benefits that are
right. Can it help with diet? Can it help a pet parent? If a pet parent is wondering, I don't know, should I change my pet's diet? Are they drinking enough water? Does it give that kind of information as well?
Yeah, so actually, that's a great question, Michelle. Actually, 50% of our patients are on a Maven diet, right? And our success rate when we start a diet is very close to 100%, okay? Independent of the objective is like improving skin condition, losing weight, being less lethargic, just because we have data. We can be on top of the patient. We can understand if the pet is being more active or sleeping better. We have a weight tracking feature. So that makes us in a better place to also make sure like when a pet joins a diet, it's for the long run and we get 100% of success after that. Okay. So that's one of the features that we built very at the beginning because we understood a lot of people were doing a lot of wrong things regarding their pet's diet, and we wanted to help because just a diet can be so impactful on the life of the pet, right? So there's studies that show that just being 10% of obese can reduce by 2.5 years the life of your pet, right? And so we want to tackle that as well because all of us pet owners want our pets to live as long as possible. That's what Maven aims to do in the future is leverage technology, leverage data, so that at the end of the day, each pet is healthier, which will lead to an increased lifespan, which allows humans to spend even more time with our loved furry friends.
That sounds wonderful. So how would a pet parent get started? How would they, I really like this, sounds good. I want to learn more about Maven Pet, maybe get it for my dog or cat. What would they do?
Yeah, so if your local vet is already working with Maven, you can just ask for a collar, take one home, and that's it, right? If not, you can just go to our website, maven.pet, as easy as that, and order one for you. And in 2-3 days, you could set up the device, meet your Maven vet, and enjoy new peace of mind.
Okay, Guilherme, I want to thank you so much for coming on Best Bets for Pets and telling us all about Maven Pet. It's very exciting, and I'm glad to see that it's focused not only on dogs, but also cats. And I think there is a great future for Maven Pet for all the pet parents listening. So thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Michelle. It's always a pleasure to be here and tell about Maven and how we intend to change pet care. Thank you.
Well, I hope you all enjoyed the show. Wow, the future of technology in the pet industry. So go ahead and check out Maven Pet. I could already see the future for pets to be so much better as far as in terms of care and for us as pet parents is knowing what to do, faster. So I want to thank Guilherme from Maven Pet for coming on Best Bets for Pets and telling us all about Maven Pet. I want to thank Nikki and Dennis, Charlotte, Molly, and of course, in doggy heaven, Mr. Zeus, who taught me about how to take care of my pets, what to do, what not to do, don't freak out, all of that, and I'm still learning. Thanks, of course, to everybody listening to Best Bets for Pets. I appreciate it so much. And of course, this show would not be the same without the wonderful, magical work of my producer, Mark Winter, for making this show sound amazing. So thank you. And hey, remember, keep listening. You never know what we're going to have next on Best Bets for Pets.
Let's Talk Pets, every week on demand, only on PetLifeRadio.com.